66 million years ago. It was an ordinary afternoon. The forests were alive with sound. Insects drifted through warm air. Rivers wound across lush plains. Flowering plants covered much of the landscape. Towering dinosaurs wandered through ancient woodlands, completely unaware that they were living the final hours of their world. There were no warning sirens, no strange signs in the sky, nothing to suggest that an object older than the dinosaurs themselves was already racing towards Earth. 7 miles wide, traveling at nearly 12 miles every second, faster than a rifle bullet. Once gravity captured it, its journey had only one possible ending. This is the story of the single worst day in the history of our planet. The asteroid had spent millions of years wandering through space, silent, cold, unnoticed. Then, its orbit crossed Earth's. As it plunged into the atmosphere, the air ahead of it compressed with unimaginable force. The sky became brighter, brighter than the sun itself. The object barely slowed. Earth's atmosphere, which protects us from countless smaller meteors every year, was almost meaningless against something this large. Then, impact. The asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The collision lasted only seconds, but in those seconds, the history of life changed forever. The energy released has been estimated at billions of times greater than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Rock beneath the impact point did not crack. It vaporized. The crust briefly behaved like liquid. A crater nearly 200 kilometers across began forming almost instantly. Everything within hundreds of kilometers ceased to exist. Not burned, not buried, simply erased. A fireball erupted into the atmosphere. The shock wave raced away faster than sound. Forests were flattened. Mountains trembled. Earthquakes spread across the planet. Some scientists believe they exceeded anything recorded in human history. Even continents thousands of kilometers away felt the violence. The impact launched trillions of tons of rock high above the atmosphere. For a brief moment, pieces of Earth entered space. Then gravity called them home. Within minutes, molten fragments began falling back across the planet. Each glowing piece tore through the atmosphere like a shooting star. Except there were not hundreds or thousands, there were billions. The sky itself became a furnace. The returning debris heated the atmosphere so intensely that many regions experienced a devastating heat pulse. Dry vegetation ignited. Forests burst into flames. Wildfires spread across continents. Animals that had escaped the initial explosion found themselves trapped inside a burning world. Near the impact, the oceans rose. The asteroid had displaced unimaginable amounts of seawater. Walls of water raced away from the crater. Mega-tsunamis swept across ancient coastlines. They ripped forests from the ground, dragged boulders across the seabed, and carried sediments hundreds of kilometers inland. The geography of entire coastlines changed in a matter of hours. Yet astonishingly, even these disasters were not the greatest cause of extinction. The true killer was already rising into the sky. The impact blasted enormous quantities of dust, ash, and sulfur-rich rock high into the atmosphere. Powerful winds carried these particles around the globe. Gradually, the sunlight faded. Day became twilight. Then, darkness, not the darkness of night, but a strange, cold, endless twilight. Photosynthesis almost stopped. Plants could no longer produce enough energy. Leaves withered. Forests began dying. The ocean suffered too. Tiny plankton, responsible for supporting entire marine food chains, disappeared in vast numbers. Life began collapsing. From the bottom upward, herbivores searched desperately for food. There was almost none. Predators followed their prey into starvation. The great food chains, built over millions of years, unraveled with terrifying speed. As the dust remained suspended high above Earth, global temperatures dropped. The planet entered an impact winter. Some regions may have remained cold for years. The skies stayed dim. Rainfall changed, Entire ecosystems failed. The age of the dinosaurs did not end in one afternoon. It ended over months and years as a starving world slowly ran out of life. The largest animals suffered the most. They needed enormous amounts of food every day. Without thriving forests, without healthy ecosystems, their size became a disadvantage. One by one, the giants disappeared. Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, Edmontosaurus, animals that had ruled Earth for more than 160 million years, vanished forever. Yet extinction was not complete. Life is remarkably stubborn. Small birds survived. In fact, every bird alive today is a descendant of the dinosaurs. Crocodilians endured. So did turtles, many amphibians, some fish, creatures able to hide underground, shelter beneath water, or survive on very little food, were far more likely to live through the catastrophe. Among those survivors were tiny mammals. Most were no larger than modern rats. They lived in burrows, fed on seeds, roots, insects, and whatever food remained. They did not survive because they were stronger. They survived because they were adaptable. When the skies finally cleared, the world they emerged into was almost empty. For the first time in over 100 million years, the dinosaurs no longer dominated Earth. The planet belonged to the survivors. Over millions of years, those small mammals spread into the empty ecosystems. Some became enormous herbivores. Some returned to the oceans. Others climbed into trees. Eventually, one branch began walking upright. It learned to shape stone, master fire, build cities, study the stars, and ask one extraordinary question. What happened to the dinosaurs? For generations, nobody knew. Some believed disease had wiped them out. Others suggested volcanic eruptions. The answer remained hidden beneath our feet. Then, in 1980, physicist Luis Alvarez and his son, geologist Walter Alvarez, examined a thin layer of rock found around the world. It marked the exact boundary between the age of dinosaurs and the age that followed. Inside that layer, they found something unusual: iridium, an element uncommon in Earth's crust, but abundant inside asteroids. It was the first major clue. The idea sounded unbelievable. Could one asteroid really destroy an entire world? Years later, scientists discovered the missing piece. Buried beneath the Yucatan Peninsula, hidden under younger rocks, lay the enormous Chicxulub crater. Its age matched perfectly. Its size matched the predictions. Its chemistry matched the iridium found around the globe. The mystery was solved. Around 75% of all species on Earth had disappeared, not because life had failed, but because one object arrived at exactly the wrong place, at exactly the wrong time. Today, astronomers search the skies every night. Thousands of near-Earth asteroids have been discovered. The overwhelming majority pose no danger. Some pass closer than the Moon. A few are watched carefully. The asteroid that ended the age of dinosaurs was extraordinarily rare. Impacts of that size happen only over immense spans of geological time, but they remain possible. Unlike the dinosaurs, we possess something they never did: knowledge. We can detect dangerous asteroids years, sometimes decades, before a possible impact. Space agencies are already testing ways to change an asteroid's path, not because another Chicxulub-sized impact is expected soon, but because for the first time, life on Earth may have the ability to protect itself. 66 million years ago, the dinosaurs never saw the point of light growing brighter overhead. They never knew that the ordinary afternoon they were living through would become the final afternoon of an empire that had lasted longer than the existence of humanity itself. The rocks remembered. The crater remained hidden, and after millions of years, the Earth quietly revealed the truth. The worst day in our planet's history did not begin with fire, or darkness, or extinction. It began with a single silent traveler crossing the emptiness of space, A traveler that arrived only once, changed the future of life forever, and made our own existence possible.